Hey everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be all about your favorite books. So for the whole week, I will be reading some of your favorite books, specifically from last year. This is technically part 2. I attempted this the first month of the year, was my first vlog, and it went hit and miss. I mean, I'm not expecting to love everything you guys love, but I think it's also really fun to just explore different genres, things that I don't necessarily pick up normally, kind of getting out my comfort zone. You can't really see the pile, but I bought some of your favorite books at the end of 2023, so I want to continue trying them, and specifically this time is going to be books that are a little bit more out of my comfort zone. So specifically this author, frankly I have a pile, we're gonna go through it super quickly, but this author, I hadn't realized that these two books were from the same author, so clearly you do like her. The first book is 10 minutes 38 seconds in this strange world. I'm not sure which genre specifically this one is considered, but I really wanted to try it because this amount of time is technically the amount of time the character, her brain, is still working after being murdered, which sounds kind of dark, but I'm not sure the book is going to be that dark. So she was left behind a dumpster and her heart is stopped, but her brain is still active for the 10 minutes and 38 seconds, and she's kind of remembering her life. And I think it's in Turkey. And a lot of you said that you love the book and her writing specifically, so I really want to try this one. I think this is going to be one of the ones that I do pick up this week. The other option was this one, which is The Island of Missing Trees, which my library, I thought they had the audiobook, they have the ebook, so I will have to read the physical copy. So I mean, I have it, I might as well, but I don't know if I'm gonna have time to read both, but I think I want to try something by her. So maybe the other one. I think this one I really want to read it too. This is The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. I had a couple books of hers on my shelf and everyone told me this is her best one, or you should read this one instead of the other one. So I listened and I think I really want to read this one. I've heard that this one is a tough read. So clearly, to fight the reading slump, I'm like, let's read all the tough reads this month. But this one, you follow this young black girl who prays every day for beauty. It's about her childhood, and apparently it's just a really intense book. So I wanted to try something by her and might as well read the best one, according to you. And then I also had this author. I thought I was about to have access to the audiobook from the library, but no, I thought it would have been fun to like read something by her or listen to something by her, because I remember when I picked up this one, which is Things We Lost in the Fire, you guys told me anything by her would be good. So I will read something by her this year. I just don't think I'm gonna have time for everything, but I believe this one is a short story collection, so might have time for that one. We'll see how it goes. I'm trying to not be too intense in my TBRs, which never work. And there's also this one, which is the Book of Era. This is the second book in this series. I think they're more companion novels, but the first book, which is the Book of the Unnamed Midwife, one of my all-time favorite post-apocalyptic book. I had kind of given up on the genre because I felt like they always had the same content that doesn't appeal to me. And this one was right up my alley, so I should continue, especially since you told me that it was actually worth it. And the other ones were just from the same haul. I just realized I left them in a pile, but these are kind of the main ones that I really want to read this year that I've bought so far from your favorites. I do want to do one about like your all-time favorites, so feel free to leave those in the comment section, and I will be buying some. I haven't done a book haul yet this year, which is kind of abnormal for me, but not a bad thing. Chunk, do not touch this microphone. You guys were wondering why the cats are not in the background of my videos anymore. It's because they're insane. They're literally insane. They're like grown adults. They're officially 1 year old, an absolute giant. There you go. This is Chunky. And he's absolutely insane. They're still having zoomies. So this is kind of what my official TBR for physical books look like. I do have access to Know My Name, which is an audiobook for nonfiction about Chanel Miller, who was the woman that was essayed by Buckner. And I started the audiobook this morning as I was getting ready. So I feel like this one was recommended to me so many times that even though it wasn't necessarily on your list of like favorites of last year, I really think it's appropriate for me to at least start it this week too. So that's kind of my pal. So like I said, I think the main two, because again, I'm trying to be reasonable. I was like, oh, only 5 for my TBR. Girl. So let's go with 2. So I think I'm going to read The Bluest Eye in the 10 minutes 38 second in this strange world, which I think that's a reasonable TBR, that plus the audiobook, or at least start the audiobook because it is 15 hours long. So we'll see. But yes, I think cross my fingers that I'm gonna have a good reading week, and we'll see if I have the same taste as you. I feel that's kind of my mission the whole year. I really want to do that more often because I think it's really cool. Wish me luck. I will see you throughout the week. I'm gonna go and exhaust the babies because they're insane. Look at her. Look at her. The camera loves her. She hates being held. She's so not into this. Look at her. She's very pretty, but my gosh. One thing the cats have ruined is lip gloss because cat hair on lip gloss is literally the worst. Okay, so this is not the update I was planning to do, but I'm not giving up on it, but I am going to start the other book because I lost interest-ish. There's no real name for the chapters, it's just a bunch of, you can see, page 110. So I'm like halfway-ish, almost, through the book. And I need to start the second book, otherwise I'm gonna stop reading, period. It's a classic, it happens, I'm not feeling it. It does have, you know, tough topics. And the author is good at making those, like, childhood moments feel real. But, like, I don't know. We'll talk about it once I'm done, because right now So I'm going to start the second book because, frankly, if I don't, I'm going to be in a reading slump and I'm just going to give up on reading forever. That's not true. That is so not true. But you know what I mean. If this doesn't work for me, I will just desperately start the third book of the Starlight Archive series by Brandy Sandy because nothing else will help at this point. Or maybe I'll just read the second book in the Ice Planet Barbarian series because I'm that desperate for fun. So I believe in you, though. I feel like this one was recommended to me more. So the 10 minutes, 38 seconds, the character dies, literally. That's how the book starts. So I'm not going to say how bad can it be. I believe you. It's going to be good. So I'm going to start this. I just checked, and the first chapter-ish, there's an intro, but the first chapter is like 30 pages. So I will see you in 30 minutes. I did not make it to 30 pages, but not because it's not good. I am at page 22, and this is the second time that I feel rage, which, okay, that sounds like a really bad thing, which kind of, but it means that I'm emotionally invested already. I'm going to tell you what it is like right now, because why not? 22 pages, nothing's a spoiler. So the main character is indeed, I don't know what happened, how, but she is now, the first chapter that I'm currently reading is the first minute. And she's remembering her birth. Like it's said that, like, you know, she remembers things that she didn't think she could remember, blah, blah, blah. So the writing is great, by the way. But I'm feeling the rage because her mother just gave birth to her. And her mother is like the second wife, and the first wife has no children. So she went behind the back of her to talk to the husband and convince him to give her the baby. And the husband is like, yeah, he comes into the room. She just gave birth. The first thing he tells her is like, nice, let's give her the baby to the first wife. Like, how emotionally constipated do you have to be to not understand how messed up that is? Like, what? So I was just at that portion when I put it down because I was like, So, yeah, I think that's a good sign. It doesn't sound like it, but I think it's a good sign. I'm going to be at least emotionally invested. And like I said, the writing does sound like it's going to be good. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip-flop. I do that often with classics or like nonfictions. I'll read, 10 pages a day or something, and then I flip to the other one. I just don't want this vlog to be boring again. I feel like I keep reading books that I hate or like that disappoint me. And every time that happens, I have a little phase. Like, I know it shouldn't affect me, but it does. Okay, I'm human. I start getting comments of people being like, you hate everything you read, which, like, do you really think I'm doing this on purpose? But it did happen one year that I kept loving everything I read, and I got the opposite, which was shocking to me. People being like, well, of course you give it 5 stars. You give everything 5 stars. So it really goes to show you can't win. So I'm going to do this. Trot along. I can't say that. And yeah, we're going to... Listen, it's raining right now. Everything is depressing. If this doesn't fix the slump, I do have my read it own holiday to do. But after that, I'm just reading favorites. Next month is my birthday month. So I'll just read really good books, hopefully. I'll reorganize my bookshelves. I have a challenge coming up with that, and yeah, we're gonna hope for the best. I do have Claudia next to me, but she's next to my toes, and I'm not showing my toes for free on the internet, so I'll show the kitties later. Quick update, I'm at page 118 and I am loving it. It's been enraging so far, as seems to be the theme of the book. At first I could only read a couple pages here and there because the subject is so heavy, but there's just something that sucks you in, and I'm now fully invested. I've been reading a lot more in one go, and I'm not done, but you know, I've made some decent progress, and I think this is going to be a good one. I got curious, which, you know, I spoil it for myself, but I was wondering if the whole book was going to be about her slowly, because each chapter is like, oh, 1 minute after she passes away, 2 minutes, blah, blah, because, you know, it's going to be 10 and 38 seconds. And eventually, I think it becomes something else. So I just saw like a part 2 of like, oh no. So yeah, so far very invested. She's having flashbacks of her childhood, basically everything before she gets to that point. And yeah, it's been awful. But I'm really liking it. I feel like this is what I wanted this challenge to be. Like, I was really happy in part 1 to find one fantasy that I hadn't heard of that I loved. Obviously, that was great. But this isn't something I would have picked up. I had another book by the author on my TBR, but I hadn't heard anything about this one. And I feel like if I had just heard that it starts with the main character dying, I would have probably been like, ooh, that sounds good. But I don't think I would have picked it up otherwise, unless I really loved the other one, which I haven't read yet, right? It was in the pile. So now I will. I mean, unless the rest is like awful, which I don't think so. This is good. I'm happy about this. So which one are you? I'm just seeing a black tail. Oh, 2. I'll show you them when they're here. Oh, that's Charlie. Come on, the people love you. It doesn't like the people. But yes, I've been reading slowly the other book too, but I don't think it's going to be a favorite. So we're going to focus on this because I want this vlog to be happy. I mean, it's a really sad book, like really sad book, but I'm just happy that I'm finally reading something good. It's been a struggle, okay? I got him. There you go. Yeah, now everyone can see the camera. Lighting at night is so bad. What is going on? Look at the beast. There you go. Can you hear him? He has the softest purr. It's impossible to catch it. So I tried. I'm sorry. Quick update, which probably won't be that quick actually, because I'm at page 215 and this has been really great. It's nothing like what I usually read or often read, but okay. The premise, I was right. Yes, it is someone dying, this woman who is a prostitute. That's the word they're using. And she is found dead. That's basically where it starts. But then you go through most of what I've read is slowly her going back in time, having memories from her childhood. But it's also about the 5 most important people in her life and how, you know, they found each other. And I wasn't sure if I would be interested once it was done because I wanted that point of view, that narration to continue. But then literally after that, you're following her at first at the morgue, which I put a post-it because that quote just stopped me. So for context, they do know she was a prostitute, and it is important to the context, and you're having this conversation between these 2 workers there, one of them being super dismissive and one of them being not dismissive, and they were referring how the nurses were whispering about her because I started speaking French. Oh mon dieu, oh my god, like she's a sex worker, blah blah. Anyway, so the one that cares is the one that starts, and he says, "Poor thing, may Allah forgive whatever sin she might have committed." The medical examiner smiled a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Might? That's a funny thing to say considering who she was. Her entire life was full of sin. Well, perhaps that's so, but who knows who deserves heaven more, this unlucky woman or the zealot who thinks he's the only chosen of God? And like, it's especially impactful because you just spent, you know, like almost 200 pages seeing her life. And like, I don't want to spoil anything because you just need to experience this book. But obviously, you don't become someone that is in that situation without going through a lot. And then right after that section, I think that was about 190, at 196, 198, whatever, is when I almost cried. It just becomes a lot because her 5 friends are not family, so they can't release the body to them. And anyway, very emotional. And yeah, it's taking me forever to go through this book, but not in a bad way. Like, I don't care if it takes me the whole week to just read this one, because I will read the other book by the author at this point. I mean, no matter what happens for the last 100 pages. So I'm so glad you guys recommended this book. Listen, we're at like 4 official recommendation, 4 or 5, whatever. And like 2 that would be really good. That's good enough. That's good enough. Also, the audiobook, Know My Name. I don't know where I'm at in it, but I'm probably like over 50% into it, probably closer to 75. And I'm really enjoying it. I wasn't sure, like, it was 15 hours long, and I was like, that's a long book on the topic, and I wasn't sure how I would feel about it. But no, the author's fantastic. She does write, or she does comedy, so she's just really good with her words. And yeah, so far it's been also really impactful. And yeah, I will happily finish it. And I don't really like reading these kind of audiobooks, nonfiction books, because it's someone's life, especially on that topic, but we'll figure it out by the end. But so far I would recommend it. So yeah, this quick update wasn't that quick because I'm not done with anything, but I'm enjoying the 2 books I'm reading / listening to. We're not even gonna address the other one. It never happened. I mean, I'm not done yet, but I will be by the end of this vlog. So yeah, that's where we're at. We're doing well. Charlie, there. Hello. Say hello to people. Oh yeah, black cat in the dark. All you're seeing in all my vlogs is just blobs. Anyway, that's what happens. Late updates, okay? That's real life. I finished it. I thought waiting the next morning was a good idea. That way I would have more time to digest it. No, I'm still traumatized. Wow, this book. Okay, it was not my usual kind of book. But like once in a while I do read more contemporary, I guess, historical fiction a little bit. But I think the last update I was saying how I had been worried about, you know, the book not being as good after we switched to narration. And I had a lot of emotions straight away. But because the whole book, you're like going through her past and finding her 5 best friends, or, you know, the people that really influenced her life. And then you see them and how they react to her death, and just, it's that section afterwards. And my gosh, I'm gonna give it 5 star. I did feel like it took me forever to read it. Like, it took me over a week, but like, it's not, you know, a huge book. It's like 300 pages, but it's not something that I would have wanted to rush, slump or not. And you just need to try it. If any of what I said sounds appealing to you, if you like beautiful writing, if obviously some trigger warnings, I guess it's not graphic. We're going to go with that. But obviously she went through a lot. And yeah, I really like the friendship, like the found family. It's a little bit of trauma, a little bit of like, wow, this was amazing. So I don't know how I feel about this whole vlog. I still am not fully done with Know My Name. With that said, I'm very much enjoying. I didn't know, I think at first I mentioned, I didn't know like 15 hours sounded like a lot, but no, it was great. I'm towards the end, like I almost made it till the end. And if anything, it made me even more enraged about the situation. I feel like we've all heard of the situation, but I didn't know all of the details. I thought I did, I didn't. And the whole like 20-minute of action is like nothing compared to some of the other things that were said in the book. And I'm like, my gosh. Anyway, as far as the classic, we're not going to talk about it because I'm still not done with it. It's okay though. I finished one and it was a 5-star. So I'm considering this very successful. And I'm going to go ahead and start my read it, don't haul it. And we're crossing our fingers. No sci-fi, please. I'll see you then. Bye.